Hello and welcome to This Week in Property. I'm your host Richard Swan, and in today's show we are switching that light back on. Yes, the spotlight, the Property Pros Spotlight, where we bring someone else in so that you, the viewer, the listener, can get their story. You know, what are they up to? What part of the property world are they involved in? What areas, what strategies, what tactics, how they getting on, what challenges, what successes, etc. And we have a perfect candidate to step into that light. It's none other than Mr. Richard Dickson. Richard, hello, sir.
What's happening? How are you?
I am fantastic. I've been looking forward to this call. This is great. And we have you live and direct from the fancy car, which is brilliant. We outside broadcast, which
doors
is...
that go up like that.
Oh, there's a fancy doors get up, fancy doors get up. A guy with that kind of car must be doing something right in property.
Yeah, something, eh?
All of his secrets. Now, full disclosure. We know each other. I know you through Paul McFadden's programmes. He's got his Property Protégé. He's got his Platinum Inner Circle.
Yeah.
I know you through that. I know obviously quite a few of the deals and things that you share and a lot of your updates, which is brilliant. I also know that when it comes to investing, property is not your first rodeo when it comes to the investing world. We'll dig into that a bit further. But more than that, more than we start to kind of dip into your experiences and opinions and everything else, how would you kind of give a wee brief resume of your background up to property? You know, if someone said, what did you do before this? What was your career? Or what did you come out of school as? What's the deal? How would you kind of summarise that for someone that didn't know you?
I think for someone my age, 23, I've lived multiple lifetimes of experience already. It's very hard to summarise, because I've done loads of stuff. In school, I kind of had no idea what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to fight. That was something that was big for me. I fought MMA at the Grip House, and I knew I wanted to fight, but it was how I facilitated that. Did I go to uni and then maybe have to work a job? So I took an apprenticeship as an electrician. That was my first main kind of thing. I had a career as an international lookalike.
What? Whoa, right, we need to stop right.
Do you not know this?
No, I do. I love having these interviews. I just love it. The stories you don't know.
Yeah. So I had quite long hair, and I worked as a Harry Styles lookalike, Harry Styles from One Direction. I've been on Australian breakfast TV. I've been on Channel 4. I've travelled all over Europe. It was great, and it was my first. Do you know what? It was funny because it was my first taste into how much is my time actually worth. Because back then, for gigs with that, we used to get paid like 150, 250 quid an hour. Yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable. So, done that. I fought, of course, as well. I coached. I worked doing, social media marketing. I traded FX. I've done so many different things. So I think it reminds me of a time when I was in primary school. I used to apply for every club. I get into every club. And one time I didn't get into one of the clubs and I cried for about 3 days. And I think it's always been I've got this deep fear of missing out. So anytime an opportunity comes, I'm willing to discuss it. Even if it ends up being rubbish, I don't say no to anything. So that's how I've ended up just doing some weird and wonderful stuff. But it's given me great contacts, great experience, and helped me make money as well. So yeah, it's been my life's been weird, mate, for somebody that's only 23.
That's fantastic. Right, so there's the positives, there's the outcomes, there's the results of that. I managed to do this, I've got this experience, I managed to do that, and I've made some money here, brilliant stuff. Why? What's the source? Have you actually sat down and thought to yourself, why is it I've got that? Why is it I've got that fear of missing out? What is it that happened earlier in my childhood? Or what is it what's in my character? What's in my personality? Have you dug deeper on that?
I think, to be perfectly honest, and this is something my parents have always thought as well, although I've never put like a label on it, everyone's always thought I had reasonably bad ADHD and potentially a little bit autistic, and people know that about me because I'm very obsessive. When I want to get good at something, nobody can speak to me, nobody can put me off it. I don't care what you say, I'm going to do it. And if you're in my way, you better put your hands up because I'm going to push out the road. Do you know what I mean? I've always been like that. And that's also, that has some bad points as well because I suffer from burnout quite a lot. Like, I'll do something so hard for a year and then I'm just like it gets quite heavy for a bit, and then I'm able to just rejig and go. But I think that's maybe part of it. I've never felt the needed to get tested for anything like that. So for all I know, I could just be hyperactive. But that's something people have always thought of me. My teachers always thought that about me. And I think that's a bit of an extra tool in your toolbox. You know, I think it's just always made me think of the world a bit differently. What opportunities are there? What can I do? There's always more than what I'm doing just now. And that's been maybe because I was in the ballet club in school. You know what I mean? I done ballet, I done football, skiing, snowboarding, everything, chess club. Like, you name it, I done it. Do you know what I mean? Because I just wanted as much experience as possible, and martial arts from a very young age, and I never ran out of energy. And I think that's why my parents put me into so many sports, because they were like, there's not enough we can do with this kid to make him calm down. So I think
real life Duracell bunny.
Yeah, instead of, you know, there's some people I know who maybe have like some different types of, like, I don't know, they have ADHD and have to take tablets and stuff like that. I think my way of getting around it was, what is the most amount of stuff I can do to deal with it? Do you know what I mean? So I might be right with that self-diagnosis. I might be wrong. It makes no difference to me, and even if it was right, it wouldn't make me change my outlook or anything like that. I think that's where it's came from. I've had a great childhood. I've never had, like, you know, grew up in social housing and stuff, and maybe didn't have a huge amount of money, but very loving, supporting family. So I think it's just came from me. It's just something I have in me that maybe I haven't figured out yet, but I don't think I really need to. You just keep kicking on. It's been all right.
You're just riding the wave, enjoying the benefits. You've got that curiosity in you. I love that. That's certainly something that resonates with me. And then, as you say, the kind of thing you have to watch then is you don't spread yourself too thin, you don't get overwhelmed, you don't, burn yourself out type thing.
Yeah. You know what? I've never found an issue with spreading myself too thin, because I get obsessive with individual things.
Right.
And I think that also sometimes, and this is what it comes back to the point of, extreme ownership. I always look at myself first if something goes wrong. And maybe that amount of obsessiveness with, joint ventures and other businesses and stuff, not so much properties, maybe made me see things with rose-tinted glasses and put more effort in than I needed to, or maybe, not looked into things or people as much as I should have. But you know what? That's all lessons. I'd rather be sitting here, my early 20s, learning that now and still making a living and having a decent life than, realising that when I'm in my 40s and going, I've spent, 20 years in a job that I shouldn't have done and blah, 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 blah. Like, I've not worked an actual job for going on 3 years now. Do you know what I mean? 2.5, 3 years. So I'll never be stuck in that position again, hopefully.
Like it. Brilliant stuff. Right, let's close the door on the combat part of your life as well then. So you mentioned MMA. Was it straight into that? Was it, other things like judo or taekwondo first? What happened there?
Yeah, taekwondo, ITF style taekwondo. Sabon Patrick McLaughlin here in Pollock Shields, just the local community hall. The Nan Mackay Hall, it's called. What do you call it? So I got taken there when I was about 4 years old. Right. My dad took me down, and I done taekwondo for many, many years. I took a break, maybe a 3-year hiatus from combat sports, and played football like every young guy. But I just wasn't good enough at football to play. I've got this weird obsession with winning, even if there's nothing to win. It's just I always need to win. It's just, and I was like, sometimes you need to realise, right, there's a lot of people, it's not a quitter's attitude. I think it's realism. You go, right, I'm not as good at these guys as this. I kind of just spent, a couple of summers just doing whatever I wanted. Then I started, doing like submission wrestling, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, like grappling and stuff like that. I was like,
wow.
This is different. Do you know what I mean? And had friends who were judo players and stuff like that, and I was just like, that's different. I was like, that must be so easy. I was like, you're just hugging someone and making them fall, and then when you actually start grappling, you realise it's not like that at all. So, I started grappling. I competed grappling all over Europe. And then after that, I was like, well, what's next from here? Like, I'm grappling and it's fun, but I want to do something else. And I was like, well, I had an original background in, striking sports. I guess you would call taekwondo to other people semi-contact kickboxing is the easiest way to say it. And I started boxing, training with boxers I know. I started doing like Muay Thai kickboxing with guys I know at the Grip House. And then I was like, you know what? I want an MMA fight. Like, it's about as real as it gets without being illegal. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's what I want to do. And I just rolled over from there. That was, when I decided I wanted to do MMA, I was probably like 17. And decent level grappling, won pretty much everything there was to win in Scotland, medalled internationally, and it was just time to move on into something else.
Fantastic. That's fascinating. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Okay, so there's a physical part of your world. Brilliant. Jumping back into the kind of mental part, the business part of the world, you mentioned trading earlier, FX trade. So is that Forex trading? I mean, how did that come about?
So it's I traded currency-based CFDs. So for those that don't know, when you trade currency, some people trade the intrinsic value of the currency. Some people trade basically pairs against each other. That's CFDs. It's contract for difference trading. So that's what I did.
Right. Why did that grab your interest?
I was in college doing my apprenticeship. I was in maybe second year of college. There was another boy in my class, Nathan, and we were looking at, I seen an advert for Trading 212. Right. And I was like, oh, I wonder what that is. So I downloaded the app and you get the £50,000 free account thing. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So I was like, what do I know about investing? Absolutely nothing. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, right, what do investors buy? When I think about investing, what do guys buy? What do they always talk about? And I went, oil. So I was like, I'm going to buy oil. So I thought, this is before I knew it, I thought when you buy that, I must own a barrel of oil somewhere, right? So that's what I thought I was buying. I thought I was buying the asset, right? So I went on. I was looking at it, and I was like, there was futures and commodities and all. I was like, what the hell is this? So I seen Brent oil futures, right? I'm going to buy 50 grand of Brent oil futures with this fake account. Me and my mate done it, and I woke up the next day, and I'd had a margin call had stopped out my account. There was no money left, right? So. And this maybe shows my attitude to risk as well. So we were in college the next day and we're chatting. And Nathan was like, we lost all that money. Imagine that was real money. And I went, yeah, but someone somewhere made that money. Like someone made that. Or like maybe not someone made exactly our trade. It wasn't like we were swapping a trade over, but someone must have been on the other side and benefited. So like, yes, I guess, 85% of retail traders lose money. You know what I mean? Fact. But I was like, nah, there needs to be something more about this. And, like loads of people say they try. FX is a very weird game. There's very few people that actually do what they say they do, right? Quite a lot of it is, sales based, right? And people always say I taught myself how to trade. So I was like, well, no offense, I've always thought myself very intelligent, right? You might think an electrician that's middle level intelligence, but I rejected going to university to be a spark. So I was like, if anyone can teach themselves this, it's me. Fact, right? That's what I said. I was like, if anyone can do it, and I couldn't teach myself. I could not find consistency, and I was like, maybe that's my first step into mentorship and education as well, So I was like, I need to find someone to tell me, I used resources. If anyone here does anything like this, baby pips, everyone will know what that is. And it was like free but decent resources with a little upsell and stuff like that. And that's what kind of helped me find my feet. I was just mucking about, making £10 here, £10 there. I done one trade. I made like 90 quid and thought I was the king of the world. And because of that, I blew my account. Lost maybe 400 or 500 quid. But that was a very important lesson for me because it made me kind of ground myself a bit and realise, I need to take this in steps and find my feet and do this right instead of being, there's having a different attitude towards risk, and then there's just being plain stupid. And maybe I didn't even understand the difference at that point, but that was a big lesson for me, and it helped me a lot. Losing 500 quid in the grand scheme of things, and what I've been able to make now was not a lot of money. But if that had happened to me when I was doing 20 grand, 30 grand and more, and even doing some property deals now, if I lost out on them, that would have been a killer for me and investment parties now as well. So I'm happy that I learned that lesson early.
Yeah, definitely. Fantastic. Fascinating background here. So where on earth did property come into the picture for you then?
So again, it just sounds so daft. Like the way I get to stuff is just ridiculous, right? Some people are like A to B. I'm like A via Z, take a U-turn at Y, might end up at B. I don't know, right? So I thought to myself, I was trading, making decent money, and like you will probably see with other people, 20, 21 years old, making, £5,000-10,000 a month. Like I was making like 10 grand in a month and spending 12. Do you know what I mean? So I was thinking to myself, I was like, I am burning through cash. And that was my attitudes to money, you know, growing up. Like, I remember my dad won a big bet at the bookies once, right? And we went on holiday to Spain. So to me, it was like, money comes in, money goes out. Like, you don't save money. Nobody in my family invested. It was just my money values. So I was like, I'm burning through this money, man. I need something to do with it, or I'm just going to end up basically pissing it up the wall, really. Mm-hmm. So I went, right, what do I want to do? I was like, I could start something with one of my mates, give them a loan, and maybe they could go and start a cafe or something like that. So I went on the Forbes list, and I went through the top 50 people and counted out how many had each thing in the list. So I put down like real estate, and obviously tech is a very broad spectrum, but I was quite specific with it. So I was like, what areas of tech? So I was like, real estate, tech, banking, family wealth, textiles and manufacturing, all these different things, and real estate trumped every single one of them. So I was like, okay, if it's good enough for these guys, it's good enough for me. I just need to find out how I'm going to do it. Obviously, I was quite lucky because I was a qualified spark. The day I qualified as an electrician, I phoned and quit my job because I was making enough money to quit. And my employer was my dad, by the way. I was his only employee, so you can imagine how that went down. Oh
my goodness.
Literally, the day I qualified, I was like, yeah, I'm not coming back. That's me done. So,
dear.
So, what was I saying? So yeah, I just seen that, and you know, I'd worked for guys that done, you know, new builds and some really nice big units. I worked in houses in Thornton Hall. I'd worked in a guy that done fire damage auction properties, basically buy anything that had a fire. So I had a great network already, and I wouldn't say a great understanding of really what to do, full stop, but I knew more than the average person. We had letting agents contracts. I knew what you needed to get a property on the market, had the numbers in my phone, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, all these tech guys like your Bezos and Elon Musk, Larry Ellison, all these guys were like, yeah, that's great, but yes, I've got a B in higher computing, but I'm not going to pull out the next Instagram. What's the rational thing for me to go to next with the money that I have? And that was it.
Fantastic, that's brilliant. You've got a nice wee blend there because you've got the kind of boots on the ground electrician's eye view of, oh, here's property, there's an auction thing, there's an example, there's a wee opportunity, that's good. And then over on the other side, the focus, that drive that you've spoken about, you've just went crazy focused on, right, the super rich, what have they got? How is it split up? I'm going to analyse this. I'm going to get a spreadsheet. It's real estate, is it? Okay, that's where I need to go. And you blended those two together. That's fantastic.
Mate, it comes right back to that desire for victory, right? Like, I've always hated being average. Since I was a little boy, I've hated being average. I wanted to be amazing at everything, right? And like, that's why, because people go, oh, why didn't you phone about and the guys you know that are successful, like ask them what they're doing, like, and this is no affront to those guys because most of them are still more successful than me. Like, I don't want advice off the guys that have got no mortgage on the house, a holiday house in Spain, and get to live a comfortable life. Like, I want everything, and it's not a greed thing or nothing, because like, from being a wee boy, like, I stay in Pollock Shields, and anyone that knows Glasgow, Pollock Shields is a very weird area. There was one block of flats that was social housing, and that's where I lived. The rest of Pollock Shields is very nice tenements, and then some of the biggest, most expensive sandstone villas in Glasgow, matching, you know, White Craigs, Giffnock and all that. So my upbringing was in social housing, and I loved where I lived. I had great friends. I had a big bit of grass out the front. We played football every day. It was good. Do you know what I mean? I would never say I had a bad upbringing, but there was more to the world because it was on my bloody doorstep. I seen it every day. I played football in the street and had to stop for guys in Rolls Royces driving past, and everybody hated those people. Everybody said, oh, those people have bumped someone, those people have done this, those people have done that. Don't want to be those people. And I didn't look at them as individuals. I looked at it as like, well, if a guy who lives 300 metres down the road from me can do that, how am I going to get there? And you know, you go off like in little tangents in your life. I went and done lookalike stuff and fought, but it always came back down to that thing, that desire to win, that desire to provide. And I think you'll probably understand, I don't, from your perspective as a father, do you know what I mean? You have this thing as a man. I think you just need to provide, whether it's for me or other people, my family. And that's where it all came from, this desire to win. I wanted to know what the best of the best are doing. Like the family that own Trespass, the outdoor wear company, stay around the corner from me now. Like, those people are very, very wealthy, and even that wasn't enough for me. And I know it sounds stupid because you're like, Richard, you're nowhere near those guys. I just wanted the best of the best. I want to know what is the top of the top doing. Like, if I don't want to be the best at something, there's no point doing it, in my opinion. And maybe that's one of my downfalls. Maybe that's why I burn out, but it's not something that's going to change about me. And see, when you start doing stuff that requires time and effort that makes money, it's very different from, you know, training every day to fight, to maybe get a fight that makes you 500 quid 4 or 5 times a year. When you start doing stuff that brings in money, it's much easier to be motivated on a daily basis.
Very true. Well, that was some deep stuff there, my man. You're digging into childhood and viewpoints and mindset and analysing yourself.
You know what? Like, I try and be as honest as possible all the time. And, you know, some people shy away from their upbringing or lose where they've came from, when they start living nice and all that. Like, the first thing I done with this car, there's an Afghan family that live across from my mum's house. I'm outside her house just now, and that family came over, had a really hard time here, and all the kids love cars. And the first thing I done was drive down here, open the doors, and went, guys, I'm going up the stairs for 10 minutes, have fun. Do you know what I mean? And they were just so the car and pressing the buttons and all that, because that's everything I wanted when I was a wee guy. Do you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't shy to go up to a guy that had a Ferrari and go, can I sit in the seat?
Yeah.
And they'd be like, they probably want to say no, but they're like, oh, you can't say no. Yeah, sure. Do you know what I mean? So I've never lost the identity of where I came from. And some people think that it gives me a bit of a chip on my shoulder. Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. It doesn't bother me, but it's been a great motivation for me. I like it. And like, growing up in this area and seeing successful people was a great benefit, because I got to see, well, maybe that's not me. These people aren't a million miles away. I'm not looking to Silicon Valley or White Craigs or Glen Eagles. Do you know what I mean? I'm not looking to these places. I'm looking to round the corner.
Just round the corner. Yeah.
When I went to Scouts down here, I went to Scouts as well, obviously, just because everything
was another club.
Me.
It was another club. Let's go.
The Scouts I went to, 159 Glasgow, up at the top of Pollock Shields. I was the only boy out of any age group in my Scouts that didn't go to private school. The only one.
Really? Right.
Yeah, everyone, Belmont House, Hutchie, Glasgow Academy, High School of Glasgow, every single one was there, and didn't faze me.
Yeah.
Because I could fight better than all of them as well. Do you know what I mean? Can't buy your way out of one of these. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my goodness.
It was just like, I guess mingling with successful people just by accident. They were just my friends. Do you know what I mean? And like, I'd go to some of my friends' houses and be like, "This is where you live? Like, what is this, man? It's massive." Do you know what I mean? The dog's got its own bedroom. Do you know what I mean? Like, me and my sister shared the room when I was a wee guy. Like, it's just, success wasn't a million miles away, and I think that's why I've been able to adapt it. It wasn't this pure far-fetched dream. Other people didn't like it. They didn't like staying around successful people, but I loved it. I loved it.
It wasn't something in a brochure or a magazine. You just saw it. No, it's just people.
Nah.
It's just other people. And they happen to live that way and they happen to live there. And fascinating. Absolutely fascinating.
Yeah, man.
So, once you opened that door on this property world, this real estate world, then, do you remember the first step? The first thing you put your foot inside? Do you remember the first opportunity, whatever? So, it was one of a good friend of mine. Yeah, he does like developments and stuff like that. I basically asked if I could go and shadow him for a couple of days, and then I realised, developments and single units are very, very different, right? So I was looking stuff. I maybe had, and when I say I was burning through money, I'm being serious, right? I maybe had 30 grand left from making about just over 100 in a year, I reckon, right? And had some money left, and I was like, right. I didn't really know where I was starting, but I kind of knew where I wanted to end. So I was like, right, I was talking to, estate agents and all that. And I was like, I'm just going to get a 10% mortgage. I'm going to go flip a house and all that. I had no idea that lenders hate that. They're going to hammer me on exit fees. I had no idea that because I hadn't filed a tax return, I wasn't going to get lending. I had no idea on this, right? And I kind of ended up at this crossroads, like, what the hell? I can't do anything with this money. It's sitting there. I can't do anything. So I gave 5 grand to someone I know who needed it to finish a refurb. Got a small return from that. That was more a friend thing. That was just me helping him out. But that way, I was kind of like, it was my first experience of lending. Weird me being the lender. And I started watching your whole, your Grant Cardone stuff and this and that. And like the guys I know that do property, not now, back then, the guys who were successful tradespeople that every time they had 40 or 50 grand sitting about, they bought a dog of a flat, cash, done it up themselves, put it on the market, and just left the money in it. Right.
So that to me was what I needed to do. Then I was hearing like investment and blah, 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 blah. And what you need to remember as well is my circle has changed a lot there. Like, all my friends were like the same age as me and making, some guys were making, 100K a month, guys I knew. Mm-hmm. So I was like, investors, like, that might be the right idea. And I went to someone I know who will remain nameless and, got a small loan off them. And do you know what? It's very humbling going to get money off somebody when you think you're the big man because you think you're making a lot of money. Like, I just bought my first Rolex. I just bought an AMG for the first time, and I was like, I've just wasted all that money. Now I need to go and ask someone for investment. Do you know what I mean? Well, I had my first milk, sorry. So it was just like, it was humbling. And I was like, what can I actually... This is the thing it all came back to. I didn't know... I knew what I wanted to do, but I felt there was all these barriers in front of me. I was like, oh my God, and I'm phoning people, how do this, how do I do that? But I think that was my first real experience of a transaction, was lending someone money. And then when I thought about investment, I was like, it was never meant to be a business. And I'll say that up front, it was never meant to be a business. It was meant to be, I'm doing this, I'm hemorrhaging money. If I do not put my money into something, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to spend all of it. And then when you get your first wee bit of investment, I'm like, right, I can use this to go and do like an assisted sale or sort of, you know what I mean? Stuff you'll be familiar with, and probably most of yours will be. It's just like a non-traditional type of purchase, really. Then I realised, oh, well, I could actually make a business out of this. And I started straying away from the FX side of things because the industry started to become a bit toxic. And I thought to myself, if I want to be a big-time investor, like people always used to say to me, like, if you were on Dragon's Den, what would you take? I would say a lot of money and a comfy cushion to sit in the seat. I'm not there to get money off people. Like, that was my thought. And I went, if I want to be a big-time investor and actually make a difference and do big stuff, I need to get out of that industry while I can. Well, at least get my face out of that industry, because things were starting to go wrong for loads of companies and loads of stuff was coming out, and I didn't want to be tarred with that.
Sure.
So then I pretty much had to make property a business, really. So
interesting. Yeah, started
that was a
as the
long-winded
investor.
answer, mate. Sorry.
No, I love it, because this is the thing. This is what I want. I want you to explain the journey, explain the story, because sometimes people from a book or from some TV show, they're only seeing this part or the end part or whatever.
Yeah.
When you understand, so, is that how you got there? Or is that how you started? Or is that the part of the property world that you're involved in? Because there's so much you can do. There's loads of different areas you can focus on. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay. So started the investor head on, but then started becoming the business owner, the business creator. Interesting.
Yeah, because the thing is, I was thinking to myself, like, in the world of trading, high returns are not impossible and they're not uncommon. Mm-hmm. Like, we would do fun stuff for a laugh. Like, if there was Brexit negotiations on Parliament TV, we'd put 500 quid in the account, and every time someone said something stupid, would short like the pound for a laugh and see what happened. And off of 500 quid, you could make like $3,000 overnight. Do you know what I mean? So it was weird. So when I was coming into property, I was like, what? People are asking 7%? Are people happy with that? I was like, how am I meant to use 40 grand? 7% of that's like, what? I'm going to get like £3,000 back. How am I meant to live on that? So then I was like, I need to make a business here.
Gotcha.
And it was weird because, like, obviously I was listening to like Grant Cardone and all these guys just to try and sap up energy. And I listened to people like that when I was on site as well before I quit my job. Just instead of listening to music or the radio or talk sport, I just put earphones in and listen to stuff like that. And like, it was funny because my first experience being around, people that probably do a reasonable amount of property stuff was, 10X UK Tour. That was, I went there and I went on my own. I had no friends that wanted to go. I was like, I'm just going to have to go myself. And I went, and that was my first kind of experience of people that it's properties a business. That wasn't a letting agent or wasn't an estate agent or people that I'd worked with like that before. So that was my first kind of meeting around people. I was like, oh, right, there's actual normal people that do this as a business. It's not Cala Homes, it's not Robertsons all the time.
Yes, that's
there's people in between that do that.
I like
it. Yeah.
That's a brilliant observation. You don't even consider that, but you're right. Someone's outside, Joe Public is thinking, oh, my mum and dad bought this house. That's how they're involved in property. And then the other people are Cala Homes, Bellway Homes, One Pay Homes. That's it. No, it's not. There's this massive bit in the middle with people running businesses and providing all sorts of services and value and everything. Brilliant stuff. Okay. Yep. So fast forwarding to just now, and you are that business person, you're inside this world. What are we doing? What are we focusing on? What's our strategies? Which are areas that you decided to work on just now?
So because of the content I've made and stuff in the past, 2 years, after going to the 10X UK tour, I made a very conscious effort to network very hard. But no offense to anybody that goes to BNI and stuff like that, that wasn't my bag. Do you know what I mean? Like, it really wasn't for me, and I didn't fit in there. I don't really. You'll know yourself because you know me. I'm a bit of a loud person, how I dress and just how I carry myself. So I made an effort to, network and get around people that made a lot more money. And now it's constantly evolves how I think, because I'm around people that are thinking much bigger. So, myself, like, I've just bought another flat for my own portfolio. I wasn't actually planning on building my own portfolio, really. You know what I mean? I've just been trying to amass money. But, I bought a flat a couple of weeks ago. That will just be for me. And then on the same side, it's funny because you go from a spectrum. Like, I've got that flat I bought a couple of weeks ago, cash buy, absolute wrecked gaff, right? But it'll make a fantastic family home. And that's something I always wanted to do in my own portfolio, is offer everything to social housing tenants, because I knew what it was like when I was younger. There was a waiting list. There was, like 6 people in 2-bed flats and stuff like that. It wasn't cool. And it's in South Ayrshire. There's a 5,000 family waiting list in South Ayrshire. Wow. So I'll buy that house, and I'll give it to them if they want to take it on a private sector lease, even if it means I lose a little bit of the rent's meant to be, about 450. I'll give it to them for 300. It'll still work for me. I'll still get a strong it's a cashback refinance. I'll get all my money and about 5-6 grand back out. Right. And the family gets a good home to live in. That's what I'm about. So I go from that, which is a cash purchase under 50k. Do you know what I mean? It's not a lot of money. And then earlier on this morning, after I finished paddleboarding, I was helping broker a land deal just beside Parkhead. It's a £3.5 million deal. It's the spectrum, man. Do you know what I mean? It's like, and it's just because where I am personally working with my portfolio is slightly smaller at the moment, it doesn't mean I can't have involvement and help and deal with these larger deals. Because what happens is, I see loads of people in any type of investing, they think that I've only got X amount of money just now, so I'm working my way up. And when they eventually have 100 grand, by the time they learn what to do with it, they've spent half of it. Yeah. So I need to be working with people on multi-million pound deals. Like the first land deal I helped work on with Panacea, we eventually lost, and it was I'll say my fault. We didn't lose it deliberately, but it got sold to someone else before I made a phone call, and I put my hands up and I'll say that was my fault. And that was my first. I just sourced a property for a guy I know, Barry, in Shawlands. It was 39 grand he paid for it. And then the next deal I was working on, £8.5 million. Do you know what I mean? Shows you, doesn't it? And I was working, trying to learn. Do you know what I mean? I was doing everything. I was like, no, you don't phone the architects. I won't phone the architects. I maybe didn't know what I was asking and doing, but I needed to learn fast. Because at the end of the day, the way I'm expanding now as a person, the way my network's expanding, I've got other investments and shareholdings and other businesses and stuff like that. And that stuff's booming just now. So I need to have a £1 million attitude now before I personally get to that point. So yeah, to summarise what you actually asked me, my focus is just now, my focus is my business. What I do is on the side. So if I want to buy a flat now, that's just for me. I've got another company that I put that stuff into. Right. Do you know what I mean? That's just my own thing. Because if I made an investment on a personal basis that maybe wasn't as good, I don't want that to involve my business. My business is purely profit. Me as an individual, I'm maybe more risk. Like I'm not adverse to risk at all. But in my business, I'm slightly more adverse to risk because there's other people involved in other parties, you know. So for me as an individual, I'll just start picking up more properties like that. I'd like to build a nice social housing kind of portfolio, maybe 4 or 5 units in the next 12 months. I'm working on more land deals. I just find it exciting. It sounds daft. 50 grand as a number doesn't excite me because I know people that make a lot more than that. Do you know what I mean? So working on bigger stuff, even if it's just a seat at the table, right, guys, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I'll go and find the deals. I've got a very good contact that gets loads of off-market land. it'll make me good money, but it'll teach me a lot as well.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not one to shy away from saying you always learning's a process that never stops. So, and I'm also leaning towards with some of the people I'm working with now and other stuff, and I'm talking like not multi-millionaires, like multi-millionaires. You know, there's great money to be made in lending sphere as well, and it takes me right back to the start. You know, where I gave $5,000 out to someone I know. Well, I've got access to people with, you know, 10 million sitting there that they've not even looked in that account. So there's money to be made in lending as well, especially now that lending's getting cracked down on. There's many people out there who are great investors, have strong projects, who are going to be affected by a lack of lending, maybe because of how their businesses are structured or whatever. And I think there's a position for me to be in there and be very multifaceted with this, provide, you know, lending to people, lending to myself to do bigger projects as well, and start, instead of selling the land on, developing it myself, and also building my personal portfolio on the side just to tick myself over too.
Fantastic, Richard. You know, there's so much that I know that listeners and viewers will take from all that. You can unpack so many things you've covered. I love the noble approach to your own portfolio and the people you're bringing in there and being able to help people in society. You're still making money. The business is still working, but you're doing it for a nice purpose, a nice perspective. I love that.
This is the thing, mate. Loads of people, like I said, the whole like in working class communities, rich people, or not, I'm not rich, I should say successful, because it's a spectrum. Success means different things to different people.
Yeah.
And there's always this just natural distaste. And I think it comes inherently for a want for more and not having it. Do you know what I mean? It's like, that guy must have screwed this person over, that guy must have screwed that person over. You know what? I know some business people who would steal the eyes out of your head and come back for the sockets later. And those are the people I stay away from. So yes, there are people like that out there, but you can approach business, make a lot of money, and still provide, one, a good service for the investors, and two, a good service for the end user. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it doesn't need to be black and white. Like, if I am not RGD Charity Limited, I'm RGD Property Investment Limited. I'm here for money. But if what I can do and making money can make a difference to other people's lives, well, why not? Do you know what I mean? Like, loads of people get caught up every time they, you know, do something nice for a person. They need to photograph it and put it on Facebook and all that. I'm happy to be a small scale philanthropist now, and it's all about scale to me. Yes, doing it. People might watch this and go, "Oh yeah, great! You've bought a 3-bed flat that's going to help one family." Well, see, everyone out there who I used to work with who still makes, you know, $1,500, $2,000 a month, that's great for them, and if they enjoy that, cool. But when I'm making 7-8 figures a year and beyond, which is my plan, I've got it all down my whiteboard in my bedroom. Do you know what I mean? It's there. Like, when I get to that, like, I'm going to be able to make such a difference. If I think about what I could have done for young people like me, and you'll know yourself, Richard, you know, like, I've had stuff happen in my family. People die because of like problems with addiction and stuff like that. It's hard seeing that happen, man. And I could turn around and go, oh yeah, if I worked a normal job, I could donate, you know, £100 a month. Well, if I'd done £100 a month for 40 years, what's that? £1,200 a year over 40 years. It's not that much. Like, I could probably donate that just now and still be comfortable. It's all about getting to a scale. Maybe my charitable donations and the stuff I'm doing are small scale just now. But when I get to a point, I'm going to be able to do a lot, because I'll have a lot more liquidity and comfort in that situation. I can do more with that money. So, yeah, you can make money and still be a decent person. It's not stuff that has to be separated. So that's just my approach. It's profitable for me. It's a cashback refinance, which if you do, you know, refinance buy to lets, that's exactly what you're after, and it's a healthy cashback refinance. Even if I have to use money on a contingency, I'll get it all back. But there's
tremendous.
I deserve to make money, but people deserve good homes as well.
Brilliant. No, that's a cracking approach. Nice and refreshing as well, because property gets too much of a bad name. You know, the business world gets too much of a bad name. And you're right, those wee throwaway lines of, oh, that rich person, they've kind of screwed someone. Oh, that guy with that car, he shafted someone. Or they've got a black soul. No, it doesn't have to. Yes, those people exist. Of course they do. In every area of life, rich and poor, you know, whatever colour, whatever location. I love that. That's brilliant. The other thing I'm really picking up on, and I'm sure listeners did that as well when you were talking about everything through there, was up here, your mindset, your approach. You spoke about getting around people. You spoke about learning constantly. You spoke about being at the table. You spoke about having the £1 million mindset before the £1 million person, and so on and so forth. So is that one of the big parts for you? The mindset, the perspective, the approach, the psychology? Is that a big thing for you?
Aye, definitely. I think that's maybe comes from, like fighting as well. Like, it's ingrained in you that like it's just there. Like you don't. I'm saying you don't. It's very rarely you have the option to quit in a fight. You could turn around and say I'm walking away, but you just don't do that. It's something inside. Do you know what I mean? And it also comes from like just a calloused mind, like mental fortitude. Do you know what I mean? And I've seen stuff growing up that maybe people shouldn't see as a young kid. I've been around different things, and it's all just been another layer on top, another layer on top. So this £1 million person mindset wasn't like a conscious decision I made, 2 years ago. It's something that's constantly evolved since I was a wee boy. Do you know what I mean? It's constantly been that next bit up. And I think it's very important, mate, because if your head's not right, you could wreck everything. Do you know what I mean? It's just like you can't focus right, you can't work right. It's just like it's working from the I guess people would always say the bottom up if you're talking about building a house. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't put a roof on something when there's no foundations or walls in. Do you know what I mean? It would just fall. So it's been, I guess, like getting around successful people and all that. It's just I guess added to that. Hearing people talking the millions, it just becomes normal. You get used to it. But I think probably in the last year, mate, probably been about 30 grand. Doing different things. It's like mindset stuff. I've been on meditation retreats down in London with Ryan Pinnock. Just going to events that are expensive. It sounds stupid, right? And people go, "Oh, you must be a pure pompous so-and-so now." But if I'm going to an event and there's a ticket that's 50 quid, a ticket that's 1,500 quid, I'm buying the 1,500 quid one. Not because I think I'm better than that, or the food is normally bang average. It's normally still a buffet. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm going there to sit with the 1,500 quid ticket people, and I've made money from being in those situations. Do you know what I mean? So like, it comes down to that. Like, how much am I willing to put out to get back? Going on the best flight. You know what I mean? Last time I flew to London, I sat talking to Jermaine Defoe the full way down. Just chatting. Do you know what I mean? Like, these are the type of people you meet doing stuff like this. And it's not only is it mindset, it's attitude as well. It's attitude. Like, I don't have a quit button. Do you know what I mean? It's just not there. And sometimes that's been a bad thing in the past. Sometimes it's a good thing, but with just like the mindset and stuff like that, it doesn't need to be all mindset books and this and that all the time. Like, there's so many different things you need to do, but like, going to events and getting around people, there's nothing better than that. Being around real people who are real images of that kind of success, and it just kind of doesn't force you into a mindset in like a kind of nasty way, but you almost have to think like that. You're going to be sitting at this table talking to people sound like an absolute donkey. Do you know what I mean? So it's the mindset thing is so important to young people growing up, and you don't need to. Loads of people confuse a million person mindset with acting like you're a millionaire. Like, and that affects people badly. People try to bum themselves up too much, saying like, "Oh yeah, I've done this and I've done that." I'll turn around and say, the first £1 million deal I tried to work on, I lost. But the thing is, I'm going to have millions more, and I'm going to laugh about losing that in 10 years. Like, the thing is, like, now my problems now that I'm maybe thinking, "Oh geez, we need to work on that and get that sorted." In 10 years, I'm going to laugh at them, but my problems then are going to be so much bigger. It's a constant evolution; it never stops. So, like, the mindset is important, but it's not about pretending you're successful. It's about being. I'm like a sponge for information. So I don't need to pretend I'm doing anything I'm not, because I have a good life and my mindset's good. It's just constantly adding to that. It's like a Swiss Army knife. You maybe start with one wee thing, it's just adding another tool onto it so that you can use it for loads of different things.
I love it. Oh, Richard, honestly, I'm loving hearing your story. It's absolutely brilliant. I knew it would be good, but it's just tremendous. You're giving so much. At the same time, though, I want to be respectful of your time. So what I'll finish with, what I want to kind of touch upon and ask you last is this. I'm quite sure every listener, every viewer has taken loads of things from you, loads of insights, loads of wee examples. They're definitely going to pick up on your drive, your enthusiasm, your hunger, the fun, the engagement you've got. That's brilliant. Young and old, you know, no matter what position they are in, starting, not starting in business, out of business, don't care. They will definitely give something. But I'm going to focus on the younger folks listening, because you said it yourself, right? You're 23 and you managed to do all this and had all these experiences. For those folks listening, for the younger ones listening, and maybe, you know, some of them have just came across a podcast, some of them are a bit bored about their lives or negative about their lives or don't think they can do something, don't think they can achieve things, maybe feel loads of limitations, obstacles in their way. What's the pep talk you could give to them? What things could you share with them? What giveaway, what point, what tool, what tip, what trick? What would you say to them?
This is something I used to say to people that worked alongside me. I don't like to refer to people as working for me. I don't have any full-time employees. People I used to maybe train and mentor in different other things, they'd be like annoyed that they couldn't get something, or, oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, and blah, 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 blah. And what I always used to say, and I don't actually remember where I got this from, but someone said this to me. They said, I can find 10 people in 10 minutes that have had it 10 times worse than you and have done 10 times better. And it's true. It's so true, mate. Like, you can find people out there. Like, sometimes I actually think to myself, I'm like, have I been through enough bad stuff to end up being as successful as I want to? Or is my big, huge fuck up, sorry, pardon my language, you might need to beat that, is that still to come? Because sometimes I think that I look at some successful people I know and I'm like, you done what to get that? Really? That's what you went through? Like, geez, like, I think, whoa, if I had it easy, do you know what I mean? And that's the thing I always used to say to people is, like, there's so many people out there that have it so much worse than you. And that doesn't make your situation any worse. Everything's relevant. You know, loads of people say, like, oh, you should be lucky for what you have. There's people around the world that can't afford to eat and stuff like that. Well, yeah, but it doesn't make anybody's feelings less valid. But what you need to understand is, you know, that it's possible. There's people that have had it a lot worse. People who are, you know, who have given up more than just time and effort. People throughout history who have died for things they wanted to do. Do you know what I mean? And like, we're in a world just now where everything is so accessible. Now, if we could go back in time and see what it was like back then, we'd maybe understand and appreciate more. But it's just our world now. So if you're a young person out there thinking, oh my God, like, I can't do this and I can't do that, and it's too hard and this and that, life's going to be hard anyway. You're going to work for someone anyway. You're going to have annoying emails to deal with anyway. Work alongside people that you think are an arsehole anyway. You're going to have all these things. But why not do all that and take all that for yourself, for your family, for your future kids, for your benefit? I've got no interest in buying someone else a house. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to work for someone else to get a holiday home. I'm working for me and try to create and leave some type of legacy behind when I eventually die. Do you know what I mean? That might be that I wear odd socks all the time, or like just funny stuff, but you know, you need to be in this not just for yourself in a selfish way, but think about everything you do and sacrifice on a daily basis just to work for someone, up early anyway, sitting in traffic anyway. Oh, this is shite on the computer. Like, why would you do that all for somebody else? Do you know what I mean? I don't get it. Everything is achievable in life. There's just like, I don't want to sound like some hippie freak show. Do you know what I mean? But it's like there's evidence of it everywhere. You'll meet loads of people that have done it, and there's always people out there that have had it worse. They've done exactly what you want to do 10 times better. So instead of, you know, woe is meing, just, it sounds stupid and cliche and almost unhelpful. People say, what's the best way to get started in X? Just get started. Do you know what I mean? What's the best way to get in the water? One toe, next toe, just jump in. That's what I would say.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect. There you go, folks. That's your pep talk for the day as well. And if you need to, you know, copy that and get it on your phone as your starter, then do it. Absolutely brilliant. Now, remember, when it's safe to do so, folks, go into the show notes pages and you'll see all the links to this fantastic guy. You can follow along with him, connect in with him, and maybe you'll even be doing business together. Maybe you'll become one of his investors that he can help get you some returns on. Who knows? But make sure you do that when it's safe to do so. Richard, for your time today in the spotlight, thanks a million.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed today's show as much as I did. Remember, with the guests that you just saw, go into the show notes for the page because all of their links are there so that you can get in touch and to get more information. And talking about getting more information, more guests, more insights, more knowledge, etc., make sure you're subscribed. Get the subscription done, get the notifications on, and then we'll always keep in touch with you every single time a brand new show is going to come out. So thanks for tuning to This Week in Property.